So today's November 4th, 2025. Getting closer to the end of the year. I'm going to be looking for some more deals to get Q1 of 2026 started strong. But today I'm going to take you around with me. First appointment that we've got, I'm going to be actually stopping by a listing to make sure it's ready for photos. That's going to be coming on the market. And then after that one, I'm actually going to be stopping at a property to sign a contract for a property that I'm going to be flipping. That property, I'm actually purchasing it as a sub 2 deal. It's pretty much good to go, besides a little cosmetic stuff here and there. I think I can get a quick $15,000 to $25,000 profit on it. It's not much in terms of what I'm typically on my flips. I want to be able to at least get on paper 30 to 35,000 plus. So then this way, worst case scenario, if it hits the fan, I'm walking with like at least 20,000. But in this scenario, this is a sub 2 deal, getting in very low cost, getting in with about 10 to 15,000. And it can be relatively flipped quick. I'm going to be purchasing it at around 260 range all in, and then with closing costs, 265 range, and then probably at worst case scenario, based on what I'm seeing, going to be at most putting in $10,000 on it and then reselling it for at minimum 325. And worst case scenario, if I can't sell it, I'm going to keep it as a rental. It's a great property as well. So we're gonna be checking that one out. On that one, the guy wants $15,000 in his pocket after everything's said and done. I'm gonna have a hard conversation with him today, where to kind of explain to him, based off of the crawl space inspection that I just did and finding out that his HVAC is actually from 2005 and not 8 years old. He's probably gonna be, at most, I'll be able to give him $11,000 out of pocket. 10, 11. I'm probably just gonna go with 11. Just he's an older, nice guy. Want to try to help him out in this situation as well. He actually had it on the market in the past, but he had interest. Deal fell through, buyer's financing fell through, and then his wife passed away, and he kind of just want to walk away from the property, get closer to his grandkids sooner than later, and just get some cash in his pocket. So I think this is a deal that can be done. So hopefully we'll get that locked up. And after that, I'm going to take you guys through a rental property of mine that's currently going through a turnover. So that should be a fun day. We're going to get started. So this is my first stop. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom condo over here in Yorktown. It's about 1,700 square feet. It's a really nice neighborhood, quiet neighborhood, really developed. And Yorktown's known for its school district too, so it's really in high demand. But it's gonna be coming on the market for $365. Nice, move-in ready, updated kitchen, tile flooring throughout. So this is what $365 can get you in Yorktown area. I believe it's priced relatively well too, because neighbors can be selling for $375, and they're only about 150 square feet more. Actually about 200. They have one additional bedroom. So you got 2 walk-in closets, 2 full baths. So for those of you that are trying to get into real estate, and typically what you hear is get into wholesaling or potentially become an agent. I became an agent. I didn't know anything about wholesaling. When I first joined 2018 timeframe, I got in part-time as an agent. Didn't know about wholesaling at all. Would I change anything? No, I don't think so, because I've generated a good amount of income on the real estate agent side, and still do till this day through referrals, because I've been in it since now, as a part-time 2018 in New York, and then eventually moved down 2019 Virginia, and I've been full-time since, and it's been a phenomenal income earner for me. For something like this, This property, $365,000, going to be charging about 2.5% on the commission side. Could possibly, easily done 3, but as a repeat client of mine, and I kind of wanted to help her out as well, show appreciation. So that comes out to about $9,000 and some change. That's before, brokerage, split, and taxes. But man, like, you get 10 of these, and you're easily close to over $100,000. And it's the neat thing that I like about real estate agent side versus wholesaling is, you can technically do both, but you have a wider net to cast, in my opinion, than, if you just strictly jump into wholesaling. Obviously, there's people that crush it in wholesaling as well, but it's got its own, pros and cons, both of it. So this is what I got into, and you can definitely make a good amount of income if you do it really well. In my biggest year, I did 78 transactions, and that was close to about $700,000, which is this is, I think, my second year in that I did that, second or third year. But it's not easy. Don't get me wrong, it's not easy. But it's definitely, I don't have a college degree. Highest education level was high school. So being able to generate that amount of income and being able to reinvest that is absolutely phenomenal. So, those of you that are looking to make extra income can maybe consider becoming an agent. I know, or, wholesaler as well. I do think there's going to be more out of pocket with wholesaling trying to generate than you do with real estate. Being a real estate agent, you have your fees and whatnot, but I think the overall cost marketing wise is still going to be a lot less. And like I said, I do think you have a wider net to cast because you can help people buying and selling. And even if it's a distressed property, you can help them out that way as well. So, but anyways, just wanted to share with you guys, the first property. We're going to go to the next one now, which is going to be that property that I'm purchasing subject to. Hopefully, get on the same page with that guy, get this deal locked up, and then we'll be closing next month. So this is the house. Picking it up, subject to. Got solar panels. Again, it's mainly all cosmetic stuff that needs to get done. So I'm probably not going to put too much into it and just get it back on the market. Just finished my appointment with the seller. As expected, everything went smooth, and he agreed to doing a price reduction on his cash to settlement. So now it's a great deal for the both of us, and looking forward to it. Now, gonna make some quick errand stop, and then I'm gonna stop at my rental next. Now I'm at my fourplex. This is my second property that I've purchased by the water. I got a primary residence by the water as well, and then another rental down the block from here by the water. But this was my second purchase by the water. It's a fourplex. So the location's great in terms of, if you want easy access to the beach. Beach is right there. Over here in Ocean View, and it's an upstairs unit. And then, so we got 2 upstairs and 2 downstairs. This building's owned by another owner, which is one of the things I learned is I'm never going to buy a property where there's another owner living right next door. So she's a landlord, but the other units are vacant. It's just her in there because she doesn't want to deal with tenants. Right? So I get bullshit calls from her all the time, unfortunately. Eventually she stopped once I blocked her. But anyways, outside of that, this was my first, this is my second BRRRR that I did, and I bought it back in 2022. And unfortunately, when I went for the refinance, it was at the end of 2022. And for those of you that remember 2022, the rates were really high towards the end. So the numbers definitely weren't the best when I went to go refinance at the end. But anyways, this has been my biggest headache. Probably gonna be one of the first properties I sell. Just waiting for the right timing. Probably gonna sell this in about 2-3 years. But luckily, it's right by the water, so the value keeps going up. But anyway, so this is how she left it. One of the mistakes I did in the beginning, these floors are all messed up, partially from her, but also at the same time, my mistake by not going with more expensive LVP. And then there was an underlayment material that I used that's noise barrier, but supposedly that's causing some of the issues with the flooring. So we're getting everything redone right now, but it's a nice little 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment. The tenant pool in this area is okay. I like my other rentals better. This is one of the rentals that made me kind of decide to lean more towards single family, but if I do multifamily, I want them side by side. My rentals that I own that side by side, I never ever have any sort of noise complaint, leak complaints. That's the biggest annoyance, because this one, for example, this girl, she had a son that was out of control, would run around crazy, which is what led to the floors cracking. And again, and maybe it was more expensive LVP, it wouldn't have done that, but the downstairs tenant would complain all the time. And most recently, she had left the water running, water leaked. And, you know, it was a mess, but this is how she left it. Now I'm gonna do a little renovation. And the breakdown of this. So the breakdown on this, I had purchased this property cash for $424, renovated the entire property, 4 units. It was a slumlord situation before. Spent about $100,000. I really should have spent about $150,000. That's where I made my first mistake. I underestimated the cost of the renovation, which I know better now. Also used bad contractors at that time, which led to me actually finding my good contractors that I'm still working with till this day. So everything happened for a reason. But I bought it for $424, renovated for $100,000, and then when I refied out of it, I got pretty much everything paid off my hard money lender. I had no money in this, and it was cash flowing about, I think it was around like $1,600 to $2,000 a month range. It was supposed to cash flow a lot more, honestly. And actually less than that. After expenses, I was under the 1,000 mark. So it wasn't anything crazy for the 4 units, actually, after expenses. So true cash flow was under $1,000. It was supposed to be a lot more. I'm gonna actually do a refinance here soon where I'll get a little mortgage payment, and the payoff time will actually be about the same, just because of how low the rates are. Because I got this at 7.99, and the mortgage payment on this is about $5,100. Right, so each unit rents for about $1,600. So I didn't have any of my cash in, but there was a lot of lessons that I learned from this one, and it's definitely the location itself is great. So I'm just holding on to it. My plan is 2-3 years from now, I'll sell this, use the equity from this to pay off the property, or just chill and use that money. But anyways, that's the numbers for this property, one of the 4-plex. And a lot of lessons learned. Hopefully you guys can take some key points from this as well.